How does a producer get a meeting with a financier?
It's not too, it's not too hard to get people interested. I think for me, because I had an angle, George Clooney, like everybody loves him. Like I would talk to males and females and they're like, oh, that's such a great idea. Like men love George Clooney as well.
Right.
Men want to be with him and women wanted to be with him at the time. So it was a quirky subject and we already had some money through the crowdfunding campaign and we had a charitable angle where, a portion of any profit is going to the Enough Project, the charity that George Clooney supports. So it was kind of, there was and plus there was the female filmmaker side. So I was initially targeting a lot of women because I had found that women were relating to the story. So it's basically just emailing. I mean, I would cold email people and, send them a pitch and ask for a meeting. And sometimes people would say yes and sometimes they would say no. But everyone was kind of interested and, there's LinkedIn, there's IMDb. I was looking at, other films that might be of similar genre or looking at producers in that. And just, you basically just have to leave no stone unturned and just put it out there and ask and just say, I'd love to spend 10 minutes talking with you. And quite often people will say yes.
What would you bring with you to these meetings, if anything, or maybe nothing yet?
No, I did have a script, but I didn't take it to the meetings. Quite often I would send it to people ahead of time. But I had a pitch package. So it had, cast and at the time it was still, cast that we wanted. It was no one that was really signed on. I didn't actually get any of the cast signed on until we had the money. Some people will get cast earlier and then raise the money from that. I did it the other way around, which, isn't necessarily the easiest or the best way to go, but it was just the way I did it. So I would just go with a pitch package, something of who was in the film, who I wanted in the film, something about the production company, the people involved, a synopsis, and that was it basically.
We hear about postpartum depression, empty nest syndrome. Is there almost not a depression, but a down feeling after the film's already completed? Because you've spent so much time and energy, and then there's the screening and there's all the excitement around that. Is there almost sort of like a, wow, now what do I do?
Yeah, especially actually when we were filming, because, up until filming, the pre-production stage was crazy. And then we were filming, nonstop for 15 days. And then when that was over, it was like, I spent years building up to this and now I filmed it and Pop is finished, So after filming, I was definitely in a depression for a week or two. But with the screening, it's not so much, now it's finished and the film's out. It's kind of a weird feeling. It's like, it's not so much of a depression, but, what do I have to do today? It's good. I'm glad it's out. But there is a bit like, I've been working so hard on it for so long. It is strange not having to do stuff to get the release anymore.
Right. So, and I know you want to do other projects. I'm sure there's an incubation period before you can just go, okay, this is what I'm going to do. What would you advise other people that are going through that, where they've spent a decent amount of time formulating an idea, having this character be very real to them, and then that character is almost like they've graduated. Now they're far away in college and you're never going to hear from them again. So what would you tell someone to do with their time before they can jump in and formulate another idea?
For me, although I almost felt like I didn't have the brain power. People keep saying to me, what's your next project? You want to be starting something else. But I felt I didn't have the brain power to be creative because I was in business, let's finish the film mode. But I had ideas knocking around, but I was also very cautious that I didn't want to force something. I didn't want to, I have to have an idea, therefore I'll go and do this. So I think, it's, I don't think there's any kind of special way or secret formula, but just be aware that, there are other projects and this is the start. That was one. And, just start having ideas knocking around and just kind of start, even before you finish, maybe start talking to people about other ideas. That's what I started doing. I was meeting with a couple of the exec producers and we've started talking about some other stuff, but I just felt until this one's out the way, I wouldn't be ready to creatively start actually working on something else. But, don't leave it right to the last minute because then there's suddenly nothing. For me, I've been very aware that, I want to get going on something else, but I need to finish this first.
Well, since you were in the music industry, you always hear about these musicians taking, oh, I'm going to spend 6 months in India between
Yeah.
albums and sort of regroup and see another culture. And I think that it's interesting to do that as well. I mean, was there anything that you've done or plan on doing
Yeah.
where you want to visit somewhere to kind of just have different ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to have a trip at the end of the film, but the end of the film kept extending. So my trip, I went earlier last year, I went to Singapore and Australia, had the chance to go for 2 weeks. I thought, great, the film will be done. That's the film wasn't done. So I spent the whole time, I need to get home and finish the film. And now I actually have finished the film. I think I'm raring to go on other stuff, but I really, I know other people that have finished their film and they've gone off for 7 weeks and just had a complete break. Leave it alone. But I think because I've had several false starts at doing that, now I just want to get going. I want to get going on other stuff. I think if I went off on some, 6 weeks in Bali or something, I'd be so frustrated with not being able to work.
Do you like to be busy?
Yeah, I do like to be busy. I think I have an overactive mind, so I'm always thinking, it's nice if you can completely turn off. I find that really hard. So I do like to be busy. It's nice to have breaks, but because I'm always thinking about stuff, then I want to be doing it. If I can't do it and I'm thinking that I want to do it, then I find it frustrating.